Well, looking back at Saturday, I should say, felt really good about our ability to withstand some things. Certainly didn't want to get off to the start we did, but going into a situation where that team is back at home, hadn't been on their home field for quite some time, knew we were going to get their best shot, and they made some plays early, got some points on the board, and what I saw to our guys, we didn't panic. We were frustrated that the game was 14-3, but we didn't panic. Really put together a strong stretch of most of second quarter into the third quarter, and we scored 27 points after they had put the 14 up, and couldn't quite get it to a three-score game. We missed that extra point. But defensively, really honed in. They were ultimately 2 of 14 on third down, so felt good about how our defense performed on third down, and then we got the turnover late to ultimately get that last score. So all in all, a good effort. Plenty of things that can be looked at and cleaned up, but we continue to play with great effort, great resiliency, and that's what we need to do as a team. And obviously, with the next opponent coming up in Weber State, we're going to have to play our very best to this point. They've played very well, undefeated, obviously. They're good on offense, defense, special teams, all the way around. And we're going to have to be able to match that. I'm glad the game's going to be played here at home, but that doesn't guarantee us anything. But it will be a fantastic atmosphere, I'm sure, and we're looking forward to it and preparing like crazy. So with that, I'll open it up.
Any update on the two safeties, Ryland and Reddy?
Reddy's out for the season. Reddy suffered an injury. He played through that game against Idaho State. In fact, he's the one that put the big hit on Cal's interception, and that was his last play in that game. Got the knee checked out, and he's going to need to have surgery. So unfortunate for him, and the statement we put out on Ryland is the statement that we'll stand by for now, and hope that that's not a finality for him this year by any means, but until we have more information, there's nothing more to say.
What exactly was the Reddy injury?
Knee injury.
Okay.
Yep.
And obviously the two linemen who went out, Cole and Marcus, can you provide any update on that?
Yeah, Marcus will be out for the season. That was a pretty good blow to his lower leg, and then Cole will be interesting. I think his is one that we'll find out through the week how quickly he can bounce back, but I think we'll have him back in a relatively short time. Whether it's this week or not, I don't know, but by next week, I think at a minimum he'll be back for that following week.
Jacob still right tackle.
Yep.
Will he factor in there?
Titan's out for the season as well. Yep. Titan re-injured a knee that he hurt early in the season. So, yeah, it does. Those two injuries, and they kind of happen in pretty tight fashion there in that game. That thins us out a little bit. Jacob's played, so putting Jacob in there and obviously putting Omar in there, is not that big a deal. But it does press now Connor Moore, a true freshman who has played in a game, into being ready to go. On the inside, Joe McElroy, is a play closer to being in there. So those two guys in particular, are that much closer to playing now.
And just one more injury thing. You mentioned last week that Isaiah had a checkup.
Yeah. I think Isaiah was out there practicing for the first time, and nothing to get too excited about. But first time, with the helmet on all fall. So he'll be able to do individual drills this week. I think what it allows him for now is to get more ready for football. He's kind of been getting ready from a rehab perspective. By and large, to this point, has been nothing really football specific. So that'll happen, and where I've kind of been saying it's been month to month. I think it's week to week, not this week by any means. In all likelihood, not out of the bye, but we'll have a couple weeks here, to see kind of how things go, and he's under a relatively strict timeline based on when he had his surgery with his doctors, and we'll just have to continue to see how he feels versus that relatively strict timeline.
Back to Weaver State, Coach. Any specific players or groups that stand out on both sides of the ball?
Well, I think offensively, I think their quarterback's playing really well. He's making good decisions. He's getting the ball out there. They're throwing the ball better and I think differently than they did last year. I think they have a good receiving core. I think they have good tight ends. They're playing really 3 tailbacks right now, and I think they all have their different style. So they got really good skill, and they're not so dependent on any one particular guy at the same time. I think so. A lot of weapons, and obviously saying all that, they're good up front. Defensively, a lot of the same. I wouldn't say it's, boy, if you can stop this guy, then you have them. I think they're just really good most everywhere. Not necessarily this. They play a lot of guys up front, and they stay fresh. I think their linebacker core is strong. A lot of times they play with 6 DBs, so obviously that speaks to the depth they have in the secondary, and they play a lot of man coverage, so their guys are good at playing what's really the core fundamental coverage for them, and that's hard if you're playing as much man. You got to really count on those guys, and they do a good job of that. So, so offense, defense, I think they're just good across the board. And special teams, they typically have found ways to gain an edge, and that to me starts with their returners. They have 2 returners as opposed to the one dynamic one they had in the years past, but they have 2 really dynamic guys that can break open a game in one play. So there's a reason why they're undefeated. They're solid in every area, if not really good in every area, and it's going to take a great effort by us, but we're going to have to really be zeroed in on what we need to do and do it as fast as we can.
What do you see out of the quarterback, Barron?
Well, I think he's got enough mobility that he can extend plays. He can make plays with his feet. However, they're not trying to run him a lot, and he can get the ball out quick. And what they've added is the RPO element, where that was really wasn't a part of their offense prior to. So he's making really good decisions, and he's accurate with the football. And like I said, they have a lot of guys they can throw it to. I think he's playing real confident. And they protect him pretty well. So all those elements add up to being an effective passer, and he's done that to this point. And we're gonna obviously have to do things to make him feel uncomfortable. Get him in 3rd and longs, hopefully a bunch of times, and get the stadium real loud and have him deal with that too. So he's playing really well. I've been really impressed with him to this point.
You mentioned the secondary. I think they have Anderson. He's got like 5 picks this year. So
Yeah.
What is that kind of like game planning wise for a pretty aggressive secondary?
Well, that's a good point, and it's more than just him. I know he's got the interceptions, but their willingness to play man as much as they do, and then the effectiveness with how they play it, they really challenge you. You have to go out there and create separation or win on 50-50s quite a bit. They'll mix in some zone, but their bread and butter is playing man. So it's our hope that we can separate at times and we can win a few 50-50s, because I think we have some guys that can do that. But a lot of our success in the passing game will be predicated on just how our guys can win those battles.
Yeah. What's the advantage of hosting a top 5 matchup like this as opposed to maybe playing on the road?
Well, I think with our environment, it's got to play in our play to our side. When you don't have to contend with noise, that's a benefit to you offensively. And when you have to factor in how loud it's going to be, in particular on 3rd downs. That's something more that they'll have to work on this week. I think there's certainly there's the comfort of being home and all that, but I think it just comes down to the crowd can really be a factor, and our crowd can, and I'm certain will be. And we need to get them in situations where it really can become a problem for them, and that's typically your 3rd downs. We're excited to be playing in front of the home crowd in this game. It should be an excellent environment.
And then one more. Willie got co-offensive
Yep.
player of the week
No, it was really good, and he did it in a multitude of ways. The jump ball touchdown, the inside fade, the slant that he takes and runs, and then there's a really important catch where he got interfered on early on our sideline. That was just an incredible catch. I think there's one screen mixed in there too. So I think that game showed his versatility for sure. We need him to be a playmaker. We need Ravi to be a playmaker. We need Cleveland to be a playmaker. And I think by and large that group has done it collectively. And it just so happened in this game, it was the opportunities were a little more tilted to Willie. But he made those plays, and the honor was well deserved.
Oh, and is there anything you saw from, I guess, on film from Tommy's first start today?
I thought he played pretty well. I think he completed 80% of his throws. He missed a couple, and that's maybe going to happen. I thought, just his poise back there was apparent. He got out and ran and scrambled for a couple first downs, which is going to be part of his game. That's kind of the unscripted part when you get those plays. But I thought he sat back there and saw things pretty well, and did make a variety of throws in that game too. So it wasn't perfect by any means, but you flip it around, he had a couple guys make some really good plays for him too. So pleased with it, but it was a good step for him. But I know there's better in him too.
Willie winning those jump balls. Lance made sense. He was 6'3". What do you see from Willie? What does he do to be able to win so many?
Well, yeah, I think his timing's been good. I think he can get up. I think that's part of it. He's catching or attacking that ball at its highest point possible, and sometimes that sense of timing is more important than your size. He's able to slow down at the right time and accelerate up in the air at the right time. I think and just really having a knack for that. Last year it maybe wasn't that he couldn't do it, we just didn't ask him to do it. It was probably always there to some extent. So he's been given those opportunities, and he hasn't maybe got them all, but he's got most of them to this point. He's drew a bunch of interference calls too. So I think he just has that knack of just knowing when to react and how to react.
And Ravi, he's not gotten a ton of catches, but it seems like he's really committed to the blocking. What have you, sensed from him as the season progressed?
Yeah, I think both him and Cleveland, I think same thing. I think they blocked really well. I think they're both mature, strong guys. So and they take a lot of pride in it. And I know Ravi's a big dude. And I think there's more to it than that. But he's been able to get on some smaller DBs and really create some spring blocks where he's sprung some big plays. And like I said, they have no problem with it. They take pride in it. And then when their numbers called in the pass game, they're ready to make plays there too. So I think all along the collection of those three, however the numbers split up in any given week, they split up. But we were really looking at that the group of three being able to make a lot of plays, and they have, and we'll definitely need that down the stretch.
And then going up against those DBs that you mentioned, Heckert hasn't had the stats that Anderson has, but is he somebody that you've seen maybe is somebody they're trying to not throw to because he's been such a good player?
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know if I see that. I think they're all pretty good. I don't, in one of them they play three corners a lot. One of them will play inside. They don't have absolutely a true nickel like we do because they do play six DBs a bunch. So they're kind of playing three safeties and then three corners. And how they pick and choose to match guys up has varied from game to game. So I think they're all pretty good. I don't know that it's why does one have the interceptions? And it's just sometimes the way the ball bounces. A couple of those balls have bounced up in the air, and he's not even covering the guys. So it's. I think they're good, and they challenge them all. It's not like they're trying to protect any one of those corners. So it'll be a big challenge for us.
And did you get to watch any of Troy's performance on yesterday?
I did not. That early slot. We're meeting through that early slot, but obviously big day for him. getting a chance to start, getting a chance to perform like that is, it's taking advantage of your opportunity. So excited for him, and this is just the beginning, I would trust.